everyone. Today we're going to learn about synonyms. Synonyms. So our objective for today is to identify synonyms. You will need a pencil and your Voyages grammar book. So what is a synonym? Synonyms are the words that have the same or almost the same meaning. We use synonyms to make our writing more detailed. So we can remember that synonyms are words with the same or almost the same meaning if we think about the S in synonym standing for the same or similar. Okay, that S, that's just a fun way to remember that synonyms are the same. Okay, we use them to make our writing more detailed because sometimes we want to use the same definition or the same word in a paragraph, but it gets repetitive and we need to think of different ways to explain what we're trying to tell. So let's look at the example over here. It says, I had a good weekend. I did a lot of good things. I had a good time. I hope next weekend is good too. First of all, which word do you notice is in there multiple times? Maybe too many times. Yeah, good. I think good is in there way too many times, right? Maybe they really did have a good weekend and did good things, but we can probably think of a few different words to use instead of just good over and over again. Using good in every sentence 4 times in a row is a little bit repetitive. That means it's a little too much and it doesn't tell us what the reader is really thinking. We can be more detailed than just that. So can you think of any words that you could use in these sentences except for good? What could you use to replace good in some of the sentences? We can keep good in one of them, but what about the others? What other words could you use instead? What are words that mean the same thing as good? So when we think of the word good, we think of things that are positive, right? We think of fun, exciting, awesome. So some words we would not use are negative words. We are going to use positive words because it's going to be the same thing as good. Remember that they have the same or almost the same meaning. So what I used, I kept good in the first sentence. I said I had a good weekend. I did a lot of fun things. Fun is a positive word that also could be used as good. I had an awesome time. I hope next weekend is great too. So you can see I replaced good in those 3 sentences with synonyms. Those words are similar to good. They have a similar meaning or they almost mean the same thing, but they're a little more descriptive. And it sounds better, doesn't it? Rather than saying good, 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 we have a little bit more description. Here's some more. Let's try these. So synonyms are a word that has the same meaning as another. I want you to read these and think, what word would I also put next to that one? What's a synonym I can come up with for glad? The first one is glad. The second one is trash. The third one is cry. The fourth one is shout. And the last one is jump. So as you can see, some of these are action words, right? They're verbs. And some are description words like glad. They're adjectives. So we can come up with synonyms for all different types of words. What words would you use to replace these? What synonyms can you come up with for glad, trash, cry, shout, and jump? I'll give you a minute to think. Let's see. So the words that this one came up with were glad and happy. Those are about the same definition. Trash and garbage, cry and sob, shout and yell, and jump and leap. If you thought of other ones that were not on here, don't worry, they're not wrong because one word can have a ton of synonyms. So for example, for glad, if I said excited instead of happy, that's still correct, as long as it has about the same definition as the word that we worked on. There's a ton of different synonyms that we can come up with for each one of these. So now we're going to practice. So let's go ahead and turn to page 154 in your grammar book. Okay, so here we are on page 154. We are going to do some practice with synonyms. And I'm super excited that I have this new layout where I can do it with you. So let's try it out. Let's go ahead and reread the definition just to remind ourselves. So, synonyms are words that have the same or almost the same, I'm just going to underline that, meaning. Use a synonym to make your writing more precise. So when I see this word precise, I know that that means just a little bit more detailed. Just like we talked about, okay? We add more detail, we can add more adjectives to it. It's just to make our writing more accurate, and it also sounds better, right? So we have, for example, be quiet. Well, I can also say be silent. Those two are underlined because they are synonyms. Let's look at this one. Did you talk to me about that? What would be a synonym for talk? Right, did you speak to me about that? In fact, I'm going to grab my highlighter and I am going to go ahead and highlight these. So if they're highlighted, that means that they are synonyms. They have the same or almost the same definition. Let's see, what about this one here? Andy is afraid of the elephant. Or Andy is, what would be the synonym for afraid? Right, it would be scared. Scared and afraid are almost the same definition. The squirrel will find the acorn. The squirrel will discover the acorn. Those two words have almost the same meaning. So we can tell that they're synonyms because when we put in, when we replace find with discover, it doesn't change the definition of the sentence, right? The meaning of the sentence. It still means the squirrel is going to find that acorn. Discover is almost just like a fancier word for find. Let's go ahead and read these ones over here. And then we will do the activities for numbers 1 through 8. This one says, did the cat hurt the mouse? What is the synonym for hurt in these two sentences? Let's see if you can find this one. So I'm looking for a word that means almost the same or the same as hurt. Yes, harm. Did the cat harm the mouse? Hurt and harm are almost the same definition, and it doesn't change the meaning of this phrase. Did the cat hurt the mouse? Did the cat harm the mouse? We could say, did the cat eat the mouse? Okay, that's still the same thing as hurt or harm. It's a synonym. Okay, we've got a few more. James helps me pull the wagon. Let's see, what would be the synonym for pull? Tug. James helps me tug the wagon. Tug might be a word that you haven't heard before. It's just a different word for saying pull. We use it a lot when we say like we tugged the rope or we tugged on a piece of string. It's a way to just describe pulling. Okay, so those two words are synonyms. Let's look at this one. Where can you begin? Let's see, what is the synonym here for begin? Right, it's start. Where can you start? And lastly, it's hard to turn this doorknob. What would be the synonym for hard? Right, difficult. It's difficult to turn this doorknob. So those two sentences still have the same meaning, whether I use hard or difficult. I could also use tricky, right? It's tricky to turn this doorknob. So it's the same sort of meaning, and I'm still saying the same thing, but it's just with a different word. Alrighty, let's go ahead and work on numbers 1 through 8. I'm going to do a few with you, and then I'll let you finish the rest on your own. The directions say, write a synonym for each word. Use the examples above. So, number 1, discover. Discover. So I could sit and think to myself, wait, what's the definition of discover? What does that mean again? But then I remember that it's up here in this sentence. Well, the squirrel will discover the acorn. So I can say, I'm going to switch to my pen, that find is a synonym for discover. Number 2, talk. Okay, where did I see the word talk? Oh, did you talk to me about that? What synonym did I find over here? Yes, speak. So I can say, that speak is a synonym for talk. Speak. Go ahead and use that pattern to do numbers 3 through 8. When you're all done with numbers 3 through 8, we're going to go ahead and move on to page 155. Okay, so now that we're done with page 154, we're going to go ahead and practice a little bit more on page 155. So let's start by reading the instructions. Read each sentence. Write a synonym for the underlined word. Use the words on the right for help. So that's referring to these words right over here. So let's check out number 1. Let's do 2 together, and then I'll let you do the rest without me. Number 1, Justin will pull the heavy wagon. Pull. Well, let's start over here. Would it make sense if I said Justin will hurt the heavy wagon? No, that's definitely not a synonym for pull. That changes the entire meaning of this sentence. So I need to find which one of these words can I plug in here and the meaning stays the same. And I will tell you that the synonyms on this page are the same ones that we worked on up here, okay? So if you're unsure, let's go back to this page and double check. But we know that hurt would not work in that sentence. So let's try the next one. Justin will tug the heavy wagon. That sounds more correct, right? Justin will tug. I am putting that in here because I know that tug is a synonym for pull. It keeps the same meaning of this sentence while using a different word. Let's try number 2. Are you scared of storms? Are you scared of storms? So I know that I use tug, so I'll put a little X there. Are you hurt of storms? Well, that does not make sense. Are you discover of storms? Nope, still doesn't make sense. Are you afraid of storms? Oh, that is definitely a synonym for scared, because afraid and scared, when I read the sentence with the word afraid, it means the same thing. I didn't say, are you liking the storms, right? I said, are you afraid of the storms? So I know that that is a synonym for scared. So go ahead and try that out for numbers 3 all the way to number 8, and then I will check your work on seesaw. Thanks for doing this with me today, second grade. I can't wait to see your work. Let me know if you have any questions. We are going to continue working on synonyms all week, and then next week we're going to move on to antonyms. Alrighty, I will talk to you soon.